We all know the story of Noah's Ark, but what makes this story unique among many other biblical tales is that we're actually given something testable, the dimensions of the vessel. That means we can tackle a very important question: would it float? Before we begin, let me address the fact that many Christians take the story of Noah's Ark more as poetry than history. This is not meant to step on any toes, but rather simply to explore the science behind this ancient ship. The flood story raises many questions, from how much water would be needed to flood the entire Earth, to how did the kangaroos get to the Ark? But these are questions for another video. We're just going to look at the Ark itself. Let's start with a bit of scripture. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in it, and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Genesis chapter 6, verses 14 and 15. A cubit is defined as an ancient linear unit based on the length of the forearm, from elbow to the tip of the middle finger, usually from 17 to 21 inches. Now, if we take the dimensions of the ark and convert them into imperial units, that would be anywhere from 425 feet long by 71 feet wide by 43 feet tall on the low end, to 525 feet long by 88 feet wide by 53 feet tall. To put that in perspective, that's over the length of a football field using conservative measurements of the cubit. At this point in history, people were building boats from hollowed out logs, or from reeds lashed together into a raft. A vessel of this size would have been unparalleled until the mid-19th century. Noah had no shipmaking background, and he was about to undertake a project that necessitated the application of sciences that wouldn't be developed for thousands of years. The fields of physics, calculus, mechanics, and structural analysis are all absolutely essential to create a seaworthy craft of such massive proportions. Putting aside any fears that Noah was not up to the task of building the ark by himself, without any machinery, let's move on to its carrying capacity. 4 physics grad students at the University of Leicester decided to tackle the challenge of figuring out just how much animal cargo the ark would have needed to carry. Using the density of cypress and the median length of a cubit, they calculated that the ark would weigh approximately 1.2 million kilograms, or about 2.65 million pounds. At that weight, when empty, the ark would float with about 0.3 meters, or a little over a foot of its hull underwater. The students figured that the maximum amount of water the ark could displace without being submerged was about the capacity of 20 Olympic swimming pools. From there, they calculated the total mass required to displace that much water, roughly 50,540,000 kilograms, or 111 million pounds, after subtracting the weight of the ark itself. So, could 2 of every species find safety on the ark without sinking it? Well, that depends on how many species we think there are. If the average weight of animals on the ark is equal to that of the average sheep, then the ark could hypothetically hold 2.5 million animals. The problem here is that scientists believe there are closer to 8.7 million species currently in existence. For the sake of continuing this video, let's assume that the ark could indeed hold all these animals. The next problem we run into is the weight of food. The average gray wolf eats between 5 and 14 pounds of meat per day. On the conservative side, that's 400 pounds of meat between the 2 gray wolves aboard the ark over the course of the 40-day journey. Assuming the majority of animals eat roughly their body weight in food every 40 days, you've effectively doubled the weight on board, and you've got one very sunken ship. Okay, assuming the ark is somehow still afloat, the next problem we run into is durability. In the words of A.M. Robb, there is an upper limit in the region of 300 feet on the length of a wooden ship. Beyond such a length, the deformation due to the differing distributions of weight and buoyancy become excessive, with consequent difficulty in maintaining the hull watertight. This was the primary reason shipmakers turned to iron and steel in the 1850s. The largest wooden ships ever made were 6-masted schooners launched between 1900 and 1909, which used iron strapping for support. They were so long that they visibly undulated on the water, and leaked so badly they had to be restricted to short coastal trips, as they would sink in open water. The longest of these ships was the USS Wyoming at 329 feet long. That's 100 feet shorter than the ark, which had no metal supports. Looking at all the problems here, it seems apparent that the ark would have been doomed to fail. Of course, creationists have all sorts of ways to make it work, but scientifically speaking, the ark would not have survived a 40-day trip, even in the best weather conditions. If you're interested in learning more about the scientific objections to the biblical flood story, there's a link in the description to the works I referenced in this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.